Karen Steiner with the Robust Opposition. I'm here outside of the Accelerated School, which is an independent charter school. There are 3 of them. They enroll about 1,700 students. They are the only independent charter school supporting the UTLA teachers strike. Tell me why you're supporting the strike.
I want to stand in support of my fellow teachers because these kids, they're not used to consistency in the classroom, so trying to get their trust has kind of been the hardest thing. They have a lot of abandonment issues. They're used to seeing me coming in every day, so they know they can trust me a bit more. They were telling me things like, oh, last year, we had subs for a bunch of our classes and we never knew who it was going to be day in and day out. I'll never forget one of them told me, yeah, a lot of times we just call you Miss or Mr. because we can't learn everyone's names because everyone just keeps leaving. Yeah. That just about broke my heart. So I wouldn't cry in front of them. I tried to flip it around and said, well, Miss S is going to be in your face all year long, so I'm going to stay here. You can learn my name. But that's when it really hit me that, wow, things have to change here.
Can you tell me why you think there is so much turnover amongst charter school teachers?
The lack of job security. That's one of the big things we're fighting for. There's no due process and there's no binding arbitration, meaning at any point, anyone in the administration can come in and simply say your services are no longer required, and you have no recourse to fight that.
Due process and binding arbitration are important at our school because it will provide safety and security to our teachers so that they can advocate for their students and share concerns about the school without fear of being fired arbitrarily at the end of the year, just because they complain too much or too loudly or too often. So we need those things so that we can feel safe, so that we can do the best job possible for our students and families.
This is my 2nd year teaching here, 4th year teaching. I taught at a public school for 2 years before coming over here.
What made you decide to leave regular public school and go to an independent charter?
I guess some of the same issues that LAUSD public school teachers are bringing up in their strike, like the excessive testing, lack of options for their students. So I thought by coming to a charter that's kind of modeled after meeting those specific needs for students in specific neighborhoods, I thought this would be a better fit for me.
Now, it is true that charter schools can be exempt from standardized testing requirements and they can have smaller class sizes. Is that the case here? And if so, what are your issues?
Our class sizes are not as extreme as some of the public schools. I think there are other issues there at work here. It's not just the class size. Standardized testing has not been changed, though, for us being a charter school. We're still doing as much as the public schools are.
You have a contract with UTLA, but it's not as extensive as the contract the public school teachers have. Do you make less money teaching here?
Coming over here, we did take a small pay cut. The pay isn't really an issue. We've taken that off the bargaining table because there are other things that are more important to us, like our students' needs. Our own financial needs are coming way after our students' needs.
We are the teachers, mighty, mighty teachers, fighting for students, and for education, Everywhere we go, people wanna know, who we are, so we tell them.
I am here with 3 teachers who are called the Kinder Queens. Why are you guys out here striking?
We're seeking binding arbitration, long-term contracts, and health care that keeps up with the cost of living.
Why did you decide to teach at a charter school as opposed to a regular public school?
They told us that they weren't the top-down model, that the teachers had a voice. I have had a voice as a teacher here.
Are the students generally supporting your strike?
We've had great high school and middle school turnout. We've had awesome parents come, and awesome parents tell us, hey, we support you. We understand what you're going through. We're here for you.
Are there parents who are sending their kids to school because they actually have no other way to take care of them during the day? And if so, do you blame them?
There are parents that are still sending their students every day, and we don't blame them. Everybody has their reasons for why they do things, and the school has food. They have a safe place for them to be. Even if the teachers aren't there, we understand that there's still a need for their kids to go somewhere during the day while they work.
What are the provisions being made for the students here at the Accelerated schools?
We made 3 days of sub plans, and they did call in subs for all of us. But now, today, there are no sub plans, and next week, there will be no sub plans.
Do you blame the subs for coming and teaching?
Ideally, we wouldn't have subs, but in this case, there are people who do need the money. It goes against what we're doing, and it makes our jobs a little harder. You know, I can try and talk to them, try and engage them, but at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. And if that's what you need to get by, that's what you got to do, I guess.
How long can you afford to be out?
I mean, to be honest, it's very expensive to live in Los Angeles, so it is a struggle. But there are other charters and there are other schools in California that see the bigger picture of what we are fighting for, and they're trying their best to tell us that they are supporting us, and hopefully we can all come together during this time to support each other, and hopefully that will not be an issue. Hopefully there won't be a how long can we do it because of money. It'll be a how long does it take for them to understand what we're fighting for.
Now, 1 out of 5 kids in LA are in charters, is the largest number in the whole country. They're already taking $500 million a year away from the public schools. Do you see how that could defund public education, and how do you feel about that?
My roommate is an LAUSD teacher, and they want to have a charter school come stay on their campus and take away funds from them. Now, I don't see that being okay. They should pour the money into that school and have it thrive. But there are charters that are regulated and are doing a good job for the community.
What do you say to people on the right wing mostly who say teachers are greedy, they're making $75,000 a year, I'm not making $75,000 a year, they get to leave at 3, they have the summers off, you know, what are they complaining about?
First of all, I would love to be making $75,000 a year. I would love it. And I would also love to be able to leave at 3 o'clock and say that my day is done. Most of us stay after work and we get here early. I know our team is known for getting to school an hour before school starts, and at least, and oftentimes staying anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours after work. We serve committees, we do lots of things. I mean, there's a lot of work that you don't get paid for. We work weekends, we're planning, we're grading. Man, that summer is spent recovering. Also, we're planning, we're getting together, we're setting up our classrooms. A lot of times we're shopping for our classrooms and trying to make them as beautiful as we can. And a lot of that money, too, that we're making is going back into our classrooms. We're reinvesting in our students.
I've been teaching 13 years and I'm not making that much money.
She has a master's degree.
Master's degree, and I do not make 75 or 70.
My fear is that people that are promoting education privatization, a lot of these are tech operators. They either make the hardware or they make the software, and their goal is to ultimately replace master's credentialed teachers with minimum wage classroom managers who sit at the front of the classroom keeping order while students are learning on their tablets.
Part of the reason my students are successful is because we spend every day together. We build those connections. Getting to know your students is an essential part of the process, and research has shown time and time again that students want to learn from people they love, people they care about.
Technology is a beautiful resource. I don't want to take away from that being a beautiful resource, especially in the classroom, but nothing replaces the love and support of a human who can take where that child is at, what they're dealing with outside of school, and really hone in on their skills. I don't believe a computer can completely understand a whole child.
A lot of jobs nowadays have to do with team building and doing things as a team. I don't see how they're going to learn, how students are going to learn how to work with others and compromising and working with others and getting along and sharing and all of this. They're not going to learn that on a tablet.
Teachers do not object to assessments, but what they want to do is make their own individualized assessment based on the curriculum that they're teaching and administer it in a more individualized way than the standardized tests that rate the schools, and then in turn the schools pay the teachers based on how the students do, causing, in the famous case of Washington, D.C., the teachers to cheat on the test.
There is a lot of cultural bias on those tests, and it does put students in neighborhoods similar to ours or students of color at a disadvantage when, you know, there's certain biases on the test that don't allow them to perform as well as other students. So from there on, if that's determining things like funding or if that's determining certain factors, then how are our kids going to catch up? How are our kids going to compete?
Diane Ravitch, who is a guru to my movement fighting education privatization, says that public schools are not failing. They are not failing in Beverly Hills. They are not failing in Palos Verdes. They are not failing in San Marino. What's the problem is poverty. Unless you address children mostly in single-family homes with the one parent they have working 2 or 3 jobs, with the not having prenatal care, with not having the child read to as a toddler. Studies show that the more words you hear before age 3 is actually determinative of your success in life, of not having a good meal, of having to use the schools to be your only meal of the day, of having to walk across gang-infested neighborhoods to get to your school. These are the things that we have to be tackling and not blaming public schools and teachers.
It's really tough for them to come into school and sit down and just start doing education and withhold any of that information when they're starving, or when they don't have communication at home. Their parents are at work all the time. They aren't used to having to ask for things. They're just being given things, or they have to learn a lot of extra things that kids in affluent areas don't have to worry about. There's a lot we have to add in to our everyday teaching, especially in kindergarten where we are. We have to teach them how to be little humans first before they can learn.
What a lot of Los Angeles teachers are fighting for, which are community-based schools, community-based models where kids are coming in and they're getting fed and it's a safe place, and we're creating an environment not only just for the students but for the community as well, and creating resources for the community as well.
Our schools, our kids, our students. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.